Oklahoma Attorney General John O'Connor has been on the job for a week now, and he's been clear from day one on the direction he wants to take the AG's office. On Thursday, he joined a filing to overturn Roe v. Wade, and a strong opposition to the McGirt decision is unambiguous. And that's creating pushback from those directly affected by the two landmark Supreme Court decisions. Jason Doyle has a report on the priorities of the state's new chief legal officer.
Oklahoma Attorney General John O'Connor not wasting time or mincing words when it comes to the McGirt issue.
I am going to be studying the positions that we've taken, but I'm going to, and this is a very important case where the U.S. Supreme Court, in my opinion, has either made a very serious error or at least has written an opinion in a way that can be construed, I think, unintentionally in a very broad way.
During his introductory news conference, O'Connor made it clear the U.S. Supreme Court's McGirt decision, which radically changed criminal justice on tribal reservation territory, will be challenged.
It doesn't need to be where the balance is upset. We need to limit McGirt, if it's not going to be overturned, to the prosecution of major federal crimes in federal court.
And there's really no mystery right now. They are angling to make their third trip to the U.S. Supreme Court on these issues to seek a full reversal of the McGirt case. And failing full reversal, they want to contain McGirt in some unspecified way.
The U.S. Supreme Court is considering taking on the Oklahoma versus Bosse case, which applied the McGirt ruling to the Chickasaw Nation. The tribe also sees Governor Stitt and O'Connor as trying to stop the implementation of McGirt. Stephen Greetham is the senior counsel for the Chickasaw Nation.
We take Governor Stitt and new Attorney General O'Connor at their word that they're going to seek a full reversal of McGirt through the Bosse ruling.
The Chickasaw Nation is prepared to protect what it sees as its sovereign right under federal law.
We're going to address what we see as the state's overarching approach to thwart implementation of the McGirt ruling, not simply to make sure that we have effective criminal justice. That's what we're working toward too, but more in the interest of power. The state sees this as a loss of power, and it wants to fight the tribes on that.
O'Connor feels McGirt is being applied too widely.
The case was supposed to be limited to major federal crimes and criminal prosecution. It's being used by various groups to expand that into civil actions, such as whether the state has the authority to levy taxes.
O'Connor says that's why, before he became Attorney General, Governor Stitt had to take action.
You saw that the state filed an action against the Biden administration because the Biden administration has taken the position that the state of Oklahoma doesn't have the authority over mining in Oklahoma on the basis of McGirt.
We have no interest in fighting the state, but we do have an interest in federal law being implemented in accord with our treaties. So we're going to continue to advocate for that. And we're preparing, probably next week, we expect the state's going to be filing its petition for the U.S. Supreme Court to take up the case of Oklahoma v. Bosse.
Greetham adds there are other challenges to McGirt working their way through the state appeals process as well. The other major issue O'Connor is ready to take on, Roe v. Wade.
I think that we'll pay the price for abortion. As a nation, sometimes the Supreme Court gets it wrong.
On Thursday, O'Connor joined an amicus brief filed by 24 attorneys general asking the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade through its consideration of an abortion challenge in Mississippi. However, if Roe v. Wade is overturned, it wouldn't outlaw abortion. That policy decision would be left up to the states.
If a Roe versus Wade case makes it to the United States Supreme Court, then absolutely I will want to file an amicus brief in that matter.
Certainly disappointing to see him kick off his first day on the job and in that way.
Nicole McAfee is the Policy and Advocacy Director for the American Civil Liberties Union of Oklahoma.
When he was a candidate for a judicial nomination, he had said that Roe v. Wade was done. It was established law, and he said that, as he was testifying. And so I think to see this sudden switch on the record just lets us know that his priorities are very much political.
McAfee contends O'Connor could be posturing ahead of the 2022 election.
I think that what's clear there is that he is taking this role not sort of with the the mindset of someone who is the top legal mind and doing work to protect laws and rights and liberties in the state of Oklahoma, but someone who has a partisan agenda.
I'm absolutely going to run for the position of Attorney General in 2022. And let me say that the governor did not make that a condition of this appointment.
O'Connor said there are times the U.S. Supreme Court gets things wrong, and that's the case on Roe v. Wade and the McGirt decision.
There are cases where they've held that people were less than human, or that their votes were less than a full vote. The Supreme Court is usually right, but sometimes even they make a mistake.
Even with the rhetoric, it seems there's room to find agreement to work together.
I have high regard for the tribes. We've all grown up with the tribes as our neighbors, and they've been good neighbors. But we need to keep this positive, productive relationship between the states and the tribes that has existed for so long needs to be restored.
And even in McGirt, the court observed there's no reason for pessimism here. There's a strong track record of the state and tribes working things out together. So we could still do that. We've been disappointed that Governor Stitt, every opportunity to work down a path of moving things forward, he's opposed.
Greetham adds the Chickasaw Nation continues to work with law enforcement entities within its reservation's jurisdiction.
This is all the rhetoric and the fight in the courtroom. There's a lot of good work going on between tribal prosecutors, state prosecutors, between tribal police and state police. The Chickasaw Nation, we've made upwards of 1,000 arrests since the Bosse decision came down.
Jason Doyle, the Oklahoma News Report.
Jason, thanks. Oklahoma Congressman Tom Cole is asking for more than $150 million in federal funding to help Oklahoma's tribal nations with McGirt-related cases. Cole made the proposal through an amendment on an appropriations bill heading to the House floor for consideration. He told his colleagues that the situation in Oklahoma is unique and warrants additional financial help.
The federal government has put in the DOJ bill, and I actually wrote a letter in support of this, an additional $70+ million for extra help for U.S. attorneys, extra help for the FBI, extra help for U.S. Marshals. And they need it because they're picking up a lot of stuff that local law enforcement used to do. But there's precious little in the Biden budget for tribal law enforcement, who actually will handle a larger number of the crimes. Tribes are spending tens of millions of dollars that none of them budgeted for. And this is not their obligation. This is a federal government trust responsibility on Indian land. And the definition of Indian land, according to the Supreme Court of the United States, has changed dramatically.
Cole says he is not critical of the Biden administration or budget negotiators for not knowing the situation McGirt has created in Oklahoma for the tribes. He also plans to introduce legislation that could change the way criminal justice compacts are negotiated between the tribes and the state of Oklahoma.